married and they're cheating on their spouse, give us their email address, and we're going to trace it back to online dating websites, to social networks, to fetish sites, to swinger sites, cam sites, porn sites, even gambling sites. We can trace these emails back and produce a report that you can use in court if you're involved in a custody litigation. You can also support the Opperman Report by going to oppermanreport@gmail.com and giving us a PayPal donation. Our new sponsor, these women in Mexico. The website is handcrafted-ethnic-jewelry.com, okay? And it's you can Google New World Mexican Women. They have a book. They have a book that they've written down there that are real-life letters and communications with their loved ones here in America. This is a village of women in Mexico, in the mountains down there, in Guerrero, in Mexico, and most of the men of this town have left. They've come to the United States. These women are looking to support this village. They create jewelry. They want to teach you how to make that jewelry. You go to handcraftedethnicjewelry.com. They also have another website. It's called revolucionmexicana.mx. And I checked that out, and it's a blog they created to support the book and to support the website and all this kind of activity they're doing down there. They got this book, New World Women, How to Make Your Own Traditional Mexican Jewelry. Okay, and this is real, authentic, creative women down there in Mexico with this book. You go to lulu.com. You can pick up the book. There's a link on my blog, The Opperman Report. And we'll be talking about this a little bit more. They're a brand new sponsor, and I really want you to get to know them. So check out Google New World Mexican Women. Their book's only $19, by the way, and it would really be a big deal to support this little village down there of these women that are their husbands and their fathers and their sons are off in America trying to support this little town. So we'll be talking about that more during the after show that Jackie was so kind. So Jackie, you still there with us?
Yes, and I want to say something so I don't forget this because you're an investigator, okay?
Sure.
So I was telling you about the husband that she stabs, right?
Right.
Okay, get this. It wasn't even days later, okay? Days later, the man goes to pick up his kids because, they filed for divorce after she tried to kill him and they're in court.
Right.
Get this. He takes the kids back to her. She calls him to take them for ice cream. He takes them back. He drives home, gets out of his car, and he's riddled with bullets and drives himself to the hospital and dies.
Well, do you think there might have been like an accident, like he was cleaning his gun?
No. A person riddled him.
Oh, okay.
They said there was enough blood in the car, too. It was like the sea of, St. Valentine's Day, the Valentine Massacre.
Perhaps he was driving by the shooting range and he was wearing a T-shirt with a target on it, and it was an accident?
No, he got out of his car, and
Okay.
someone scaled a high-security fence and just blew him away.
Were there any charges in that case?
There's still investigation going into that death.
Okay, and how many years ago has that been? It's been quite some time, right?
Right after James Brown died, when he said that.
Okay.
When he said that he knew his father-in-law did not die the way they told the world.
Now, it would seem to me, okay, that if it's the state that's stealing this money, right? Now, here they got this kind of stabbing and this kind of murder and stuff like that. Wouldn't they jump all over this daughter and bury her under the jail with all kinds of...
Yeah. You would think so, but Reverend Al Sharpton's down there helping her, okay? So, and this is really funny. Here's Reverend Al Sharpton telling the world how much he loves the children and he wants to do what's right for people, but you haven't heard a word out of him in this. He's not fighting because guess what? James Brown didn't even leave him a peanut.
No.
After the funeral, he went in to find out how much money was left for him. And they said, I'm sorry, Reverend, he didn't leave you anything. Because James Brown was very angry at Reverend Al Sharpton.
Oh, really? Toward the end there? How come?
Well, I'm not going to get into that, but that, I assure you, is going to come out later.
Okay. No
Maybe
hints?
on your show.
Okay, let's hear it. I'm here.
Tonight.
I'm here when you need me, okay?
I value my life. I
I hear you. A lot of people look at Al Sharpton as this kind of like a race profiteer, sort of like as a leftist or a liberal or whatever. But most people don't realize that his campaign for president was sponsored and funded by a right-wing political dirty tricksters group that has roots back to the Watergate, and the Village Voice did a series of articles on that campaign. He was brought in to split the Democratic vote and put Bush into office. So if anybody's
that is correct.
Yeah, and if anybody's a right-wing conservative, man, Al Sharpton is your guy. He's your buddy. He's working for you. Okay, so, and then you may not realize it, but this guy's been bought and paid for a long time ago, man.
Oh, yes. He is 100% bought.
Yeah. So now let's see. Now, you know what? You were involved with Al Sharpton. You were involved with Michael Jackson. Anybody else? Like, what about like Muhammad Ali or someone like that? Or
no, but the van that I was in that day was done by Muhammad Ali for Mr. Brown. It had gold tires and all this other stuff on it.
Really?
Yeah. Mr. Brown told me that Muhammad Ali had that specially done for him.
Oh, that's interesting. Because they had a connection too, right?
Yes. Don King. Of course, we all know now Reverend Rat was after Don King.
Well, let's get into Don King now. Because now, if Don King was involved in this, you'd think he would have got his hands on some of this money, right?
That's another part of the story. But all of this money is sitting down there now, and it's being controlled by a little Gestapo down there. And to this day, 9 years later, they haven't given a penny. And it's going to be very interesting. They're setting up all kind of LLCs, and they're moving money around, and they're paying close to $150,000 and $200,000 because the daughter buried Mr. Brown in her front yard. So he's over by the barbecue grill and in a mausoleum. And you're not even supposed to bury dead people on your property, but she didn't want to do what her father said because they changed the will. And she makes about $200,000 a year just to mow the grass around the mausoleum from the Poor and Needy's Fund.
Okay, see, she is getting a cut. She's getting okay. She's getting it's peanuts, but she's getting something. And this is the one that did.
Oh no, she's getting more than that. They're setting up LLCs and this is the Poor and Needy's money, and the state does not feel that anybody, even this wonderful reporter out of Newberry who has filed FOIA requests to the point that it's all in court now. They've gone after her, Sue Summers. They've gone after her, and the judge ruled that the state just about 2 weeks ago has to show the FOIA reports, show the financial documents that she's requested.
Yeah, it's very unusual for those kind of documents, especially if this is a charitable trust.
Exactly. Well, guess what happened? The judge orders them to show it, and now they're in court in front of the judge fighting that and telling the judge that they don't want to obey what the judge is saying. They're still not going to. There's like a diary that had evidence in it to prove that somebody wasn't, this Tommy Ray wasn't his wife. And the DNA, the child, is not really James Brown's, and the judge refuses to allow that to be evidence. He's put gag orders on everybody. I mean, this is a mess. And they're, the lawyers that are representing the daughters down there are all, and it's like a circle of them. And I'm on the outside of that circle because I'm not politically correct, because none of them have any evidence on this trust, and I have all the evidence. And me and Buddy are fighting tooth and nail for the truth to come out.
Yeah, now Buddy's a lawyer, right? Is he still practicing law?
Yes, he is.
So now he must see what's going on with the politics in this, and
oh yeah, I mean, he's had to hire huge law firms to represent him, but of course it is so corrupt. A lot of lawyers don't even want to be in it because they know that they'll never practice again. That when you go up against the Attorney General and the AG's office and everything like that, no, I mean, the DA, and I mean, it's all the way down to they're paid. Let's see, one thing I did find out was they were paid a law firm to represent the person that oversees it right now, the court-appointed attorney. They have paid millions of dollars to this law firm to fight people like me.
Yeah.
Now, and this is out of the poor and needy's money. Now, I have to say, okay, maybe you don't like me, boys, okay? Maybe you don't like me at all because I have the truth. But when you're residing over a trust that involves a charitable trust for the poor and needy, you're supposed to hear all sides. And you're not supposed to be biased because you want what's right for them. But unfortunately, my evidence will make the money go to the poor and needy. So
but you
want
to know what, Jacque? You know, to say poor and needy, these people don't care about the poor and needy.
No, they don't.
They see a big chunk of money,
given
right?
One penny.
But what's happened now?
Put this movie out.
It's 8 years later. See, now once they've stolen the money now, right? Everyone looks at it in the court system, all these lawyers and these judges, they look at that not as the poor and needy's money. They look at that, hey, that's the stolen money, and how do we get our hands on the stolen money? They don't look at it as poor and needy money. That's a memory, you know, that one time this money was destined for poor and needy. Now it's
now they've put this James Brown movie out.
Okay,
and
right.
Supposedly, some of that money is supposed to go into some of these LLCs that they've built, and they're going to start downloading. And of course, I own quite a bit of the masters on James Brown, and you know, I'm waiting for these people to come attack me. You know, I mean, I outright own them. I have my releases and everything. If I wanted to, tomorrow morning I could start pumping out never before released albums on James Brown.
How come you don't?
You know, the headache right now of the movie and some of my stuff is going up for auction starting down in Texas. I am going to be placing some stuff up for auction because I have a lot of memorabilia of James Brown, and I'm trying to do what I can do to try to make some things right, because there's been a lot of, in 9 years, I've seen total destruction of human beings' lives.
Yeah.
Buddy Dallas was almost killed in a horrible accident. A Mack truck just came out of nowhere and hit him, and he basically broke his neck 2 years ago and has been badly injured from that, and has struggled a really hard battle.
Now, real quick question, because they made this movie. They had to pay some money to the estate for the rights to do this movie, correct?
Yeah, quite a few millions.
And who was it paid to? Was it paid to the trust?
Yeah, Mick Jagger did all of this with I think his name's Tate Taylor and Brian Glacier from Imagine, and you wonder why that money's not going. And they did their premiere in New York, and this was a real jaw slapper. Guess where the money went to from that premiere?
Sharpton?
No, but he was there.
Yeah.
He was there with Nick.
Where'd it go?
It went to the Humane Society.
Really?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because that's what they wanted. I guess the poor and needy kids. And let me tell you something. I rescue animals.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a fine charity.
And I believe 100% in all of our animals, and that's another thing I could get into is the euthanasia of animals and stuff at these shelters. So I am 100% pro saving the animals, but the poor and needy children also are they're the ones that have been cut out of all this money, and they're the ones that were his wishes and his will, and if you follow his will, everything tells exactly. There's no nothing in the will. It's just his wishes were laid out 100% the way he wanted it, and they don't want to follow the will. The daughters want to say that he was coerced into making the decision to give his money to the poor and needy.
Okay, we're about to drop the big station of Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com in about 3 minutes. So, and then we'll continue after the after show which will be recorded and put up on a podcast. But do you have anything you want to leave our audience with? Some final words in like 2 or 3